7. You're watching Carlton now, a specially extended ITV Nightly News.
Exit the Serbs, the backlash of hatred. British troops take control of Pristina. Remembering the victims of a hospital massacre. And Hague's Eurogamble pays off at the polls.
From IGN, the ITV Nightly News with sommerville in London and Dermot Murnghan in Kosovo.
Good evening. We're on air with a specially extended nightly news to go live to Kosovo after its historic day of liberation. Dermot Murnghan and ITN's reporters have watched an uneasy peace develop. The Serbs departing, NATO troops advancing. The latest news tonight is that the British General, Sir Mike Jackson, says the Serbs' exit is on schedule, and the United Nations says it expects ethnic Albanian refugees will be able to start returning within 3 to 4 weeks. Well, straight now to Dermot Murnghan, joining us live from the Kosovo capital.
Well, thanks, Julia. You join me tonight in front of a warrior personnel carrier manned by members of the 1st Battalion of the Irish Guards, who are policing the curfew that the British troops are enforcing on the streets of Pristina once again tonight. It's been an extraordinary day here of high tension, but surprisingly relative calm. But the city of Prizren, 40 miles from here, has seen some of the worst violence since Operation Joint Guardian began. In an increasingly volatile atmosphere, Serb civilians are now becoming Kosovo's new refugees, forced to flee for their lives from ethnic Albanians bent on revenge. Bill Neely reports.
They endured 3 months of war. They inflicted a decade of oppression in southern Kosovo. Today, the Serbian army pulled out amid torrents of abuse. Killers, murderers, they cried as they chased busloads of troops through the streets.
Prizren today is a tinderbox. Power is changing hands here in a dangerous and dramatic fashion as southern Kosovo is empty of its Serbian population.
Nearby, 4,000 Serb civilians prepared to flee the city that was their home too. Do you know where you're going?
No.
What do you feel to have to flee your city like this?
I can't wait. I want to cry, but I can't. Because...
And then neighbour turned on neighbour. The Serb victory salutes met with obscene gestures, spit and stones from the Kosovar Albanians. The crowd taunted them with the name of Kosovo's rebels. Many responded and were stoned. Some looked bewildered. A new generation learning the bitter rules of the Balkans. Gunfire today too from Kosovo's Albanians. These bullets to celebrate the Serbian army retreat.
This day, I can't believe, simple. I can't imagine something like that. NATO is here, Albanian people are free.
No Serb paramilitaries, no special police. Their fear was lifted.
The wild celebrations here are just a foretaste of what's to come when Kosovo's refugees begin to return home. 800,000 were forced from Kosovo by the Serbs. They are in exile and in waiting.
Then, on the outskirts of Prizren, Kosovo's rebels appeared on the streets. Men who fought the Serbs for a year, reappearing now that the Serb military has gone. Tension is still high here tonight. The war is over, but Prizren remains a perilous place. Bill Neely, ITN, Prizren, Kosovo.
Well, here in Pristina, the deadline by which Yugoslav forces must be out of the city expires in exactly 24 hours' time at midnight tomorrow. British troops have spent the day consolidating their hold on day 3 of NATO's Operation Joint Guardian. Mark Austin now reports.
The full firepower of the British Army is deployed tonight on the streets of Pristina. On the eve of a Serb withdrawal, NATO insists it will enforce. It was D-Day +2, and the British are now the force of authority in this capital. These are reconnaissance vehicles scouring the northern limits of the city, the furthest north any NATO patrols have been. They are here to plot the way forward for British troops up towards Serbia, into more hard-lying Serb towns. And almost certainly, in into increasing hostility.
What these British troops are trying to do today is to consolidate their hold on Pristina. All Serb troops have to be out of this capital by tomorrow. The plan is for British forces to move up behind them to fill the vacuum in northern Kosovo.
In the capital, it remains tense as British troops try to ensure the withdrawal of the Serb military. These troops say they have been blocked from a road where Serb tanks and other military equipment are stored. Albanians who live in the road told troops they were too scared to return to their homes. This man said he thought the Serbs had gone, and when he heard they hadn't, he sought sanctuary in the patrol's armoured vehicle. Moments later, a Serb military convoy swept past us and down the road. And then British soldiers escorted us to the roadblock. The Albanian locals say the bodies of 9 people killed by the Serbs remain in a house further along the road, though this cannot be confirmed. The Serbs ordered us to stop filming, and more British troops and a unit of special forces arrived as commanders began negotiations. It is just one of many volatile confrontations here, and the killing continues. 2 Serbs shot by Albanians today, and another injured in this attack on a Serb in a car was carried out by a suspected member of the Kosovo Liberation Army. These are difficult times for NATO's forces, but their British commander said today he believed a complex military operation is on track.
We've met our deadlines, we've got to where we said we would get on time, and the whole operation is pretty much on schedule.
This evening it does seem most Serb troops are leaving Pristina as agreed, but there are unconfirmed reports that Serb paramilitaries have shot and killed a number of Albanians as they pass through a town north of Pristina on their way to Serbia. And aid agencies here have for the first time reached some of Kosovo's desperate internal refugees. This is the town of Glogovac, where most of the 30,000 population have been living for weeks in fear and without food. All they've had to survive is sour corn and rainwater. There are fears up to 100,000 people may have suffered like this in remote regions of this province. Mark Austin, ITN, Kosovo.
Well, Mark joins me now live. Mark, will this pull-out go smoothly, do you think?
Well, NATO commanders certainly think it will go smoothly. There's this very carefully worked out, synchronised movement of forces. As the Serbs withdraw, NATO will push up north, and NATO commanders I've spoken to today say they've no reason to believe that the Serbs will not stick to that agreement. The real problem is what happens once the Serb forces have left, the Serb paramilitaries have left. NATO must then persuade Serb civilians that they can protect them. Now, if we see what's happened in Prizren today, it's going to be very difficult. Serb refugees are already flooding back into Serbia. In reality, what we may see in a couple of weeks is a province of Serbia without Serbs, and what an irony that would be for President Milosevic.
So clearly the attitude of the KLA here is crucial. Do you think they can resist or be made to resist the temptation for revenge?
Well, NATO's commander is very concerned about this. Again tonight, with more reports of Serbs being killed by Albanians wearing black armbands. These are the bands of the Kosovo Liberation Army, and this is why NATO is very keen to quickly fill the vacuum between the Serbs leaving. NATO wants to push in there before the KLA can get in there.
Mark, thanks a lot. Well, yesterday ITN's correspondent James Matesby became the first British television journalist to report from the scene of mass graves discovered at the weekend. Today, NATO peacekeepers reached the graves in the town of Kachanik. James Mates went with them and watched local people pay their respects.